Hi, Neal Brennan here. This is the Blocks Podcast. My guest today has a Netflix show.
It's so good.
Where he eats. I say that because you've done a show that took actual work. He also created the Everybody Loves Raymond show, which is one of the best sitcoms ever, as far as I'm concerned. And his name is Phil Rosenthal. You're wincing right now. You can't.
The least. I love your show. I love you. I think you're hysterical. I can't believe we've never met. We have these mutual friends. You have cool guests.
Yes.
I'm the least. Welcome to the least cool guest you've had on this show.
You're cool. It's never good when you have to say, let me explain why you're cool. You're accomplished.
That doesn't make you cool.
There are very few people, it does to me. There are very few people I respect more than people who created and ran a TV show. It's just, don't ask me why. It's just the.
But Neal, there are hacks that are accomplished.
I agree, but you're not one of them.
Well, that's very nice.
I'll explain to you my point of view on Everybody Loves Raymond. I've known Ray Romano, as we discussed before, since I was like 13, 14. Him and my brother started doing stand-up together in the 80s. So I got the pilot. Well, I got the pilot for Everybody Loves Raymond on video. On VHS.
Okay.
This is when this was.
Yes.
So I had the pilot for that, and I had the Chris Rock Bring the Pain on VHS as well that had come out maybe 3 weeks earlier. This is the 1996, right?
That's right.
Me and Dave Chappelle watched them together, and he literally was like, I feel like I just got hit in the head with a 2x4, because it was literally, we watched them back. They did not exist. And then we watched them within 3 hours. Okay. So it was like a mark of show, like my life, like the before I watched it and after I watched it.
You're kidding.
No, because it was like, it was so, the pilot for Ray was so well developed, and it was so, the thing I've always respected about the show was like, you guys had your own pace.
Yeah.
Which must have been a decision.
Yeah.
The plot, it wasn't that plotty.
Oh no. And
it was in the golden age of Friends and Seinfeld when it was like plot. How did you
We're going the other way.
How did you specifically decide that?
First meeting with Ray, we're just talking at a deli, and he tells me about his actual family, just in conversation, like, if I was going to work with you, tell me about yourself, where you were born. You're from Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
So is my wife. Yeah.
Great.
From Philly. Yeah. Okay. So it's questions like that.
Yeah.
Tell me and he tells me about, I got twin boys and an older daughter. My parents lived close by. They were always bothering me. My brother is a police sergeant, and he's divorced, and he lives with them, and he's always touching every bite of food to his chin before he eats it. And he's jealous of me. He saw my Cable Ace Award, and he said, it never ends for Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond. I said, well, it doesn't seem like there's anything there we can use. Right? And I thought, no, Ray, that's actually a great place to start. He goes, what do you mean? I go, I don't know anything about you. You're not an actor. Okay, he would become a phenomenal actor.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to make you like a gay astronaut from Cleveland.
Yeah,
let's make you. And he goes, does there have to be a story? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, the sitcoms that I'm trying to emulate are The Honeymooners, All in the Family, Mary Tyler Moore, Taxi, The Odd Couple, shows that are grounded and on planet Earth.
Yeah.
He goes, couldn't we just have it where I'm sitting in a diner with other comedians and we're kind of just, I'm like, well, first of all, there is that show, and I'm the wrong guy for that show. I'm not the observational comedian who's that, and we make a show out of that. He goes, so what do you mean? And I go, your family. And what I don't know about them, I'm going to fill in with the characters from my family. And he was unsure. He was afraid his biggest fear was it might be sitcom-y.
Well, that was the great thing from, I don't know if it was, I think it was in the pilot where he goes in the cold open, or the credit sequence where he's like, my parents live across the,
yes,
I know.
My parents live across the street. That's right.
Like he was, which is like great.
Great. You're owning it.
Yeah.
And then the trick is to make it better than that would seem.
So what we're saying is you don't want a bunch of artificial plot stuff.
No.
Now, how do you do it where it doesn't just be nothing?
You have a story. So here's the thing. You're talking about these plots where, let's say you have 6 characters in a show. Each of them have their own story during the show. It seems very plotty, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like, if a show is worth telling, first of all, we only have 21 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. If a story is worth telling at all, I think it's worth telling for those 21 minutes, meaning the subject is strong enough to carry you. The best episode of Seinfeld is The Contest. Not just because it's about masturbation and really funny, but because all 4 characters are in on the main plot.
Count me in on this.
I want to be in on this too.
They don't all have their own plots.
Right. And is it, as someone who's written a lot of this type of show, do you approach it as like, what is this person's philosophy? Is it philosophical, or is it, would you think of, and then he comes in and he's got a plot wrinkle, or is it just more like
character?
So
you call it philosophy. I would call it character.
Okay.
Character is writer plus actor. What the actor gives you, meaning their strengths, what they're good at. Peter Boyle is good at this type of line.
Holy crap!
What we write for him defines the character. So it's just a simple thing.
And that could be backstory. It could be whatever. It's kind of philosophy, but it could be based on a story, an anecdote, or it could be based on.
Never thought of it as philosophy, but of course you're right. Every character has a philosophy. Of life.
Right.
What's fun is playing with that and surprising people the way people in your own family surprise you by saying the outrageous thing you never expected them to. In our world, Deborah, the wife, was always right. Raymond was an idiot.
And was she actually right, or was she just had to win?
So that was what was fun, was you run long enough, you get to now explore, hey, what if she's wrong about this?
Yeah.
Now what? Now you got a show.
Yeah. Well, then it's not yet literally the sitcom Yes, Dear.
Exactly.
At the beginning, was it a bit Yes, Dear, and kind of?
It has to be. You have to establish character and philosophy before you start bending it. Otherwise, it doesn't have any comic weight. It won't.
But I think you could have challenged it in the 3rd episode. I mean, Deborah could have been wrong, right?
We did challenge it in the 3rd episode.
Okay.
Steve Skrovan came in with a story about an IQ test.
An IQ test. I'm taking a criminal psychology class to make lieutenant, and I have to learn how to give an IQ test.
Thinking he wants me to steal 3rd.
They took an IQ test. Ray won. Completely unexpected.
Great.
We twisted it immediately.
Great.
And then, of course, it turned out that the IQ test given by Robert as part of his excuse was a police training or thing. And they said, let's take it. And they took it. And when he told them that, of course, she was very angry that this idiot got a higher score.
Yes.
And at the end of the show, of course, the test was, how do people react when they find out their partner has a higher IQ than them?
Oh, that's funny.
That's the real test.
Great. I've also heard the IQ test for cops. If they're too high, they can't be cops.
Oh, my God.
I've actually heard that.
Oh, my God. My friend was an ex-cop, and he said, you have no idea how many of them were picked on as kids.
Oh, interesting.
And this is their revenge.
Huh, it doesn't read. Wait, so I had a guy tell me his son was a cop, and I go, why? And he goes, he's a bully.
Oh, see?
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so then the show had like a kind of slow boil in terms of popularity.
Absolutely. We were on at 9:30s on Fridays. There hadn't been a hit in that time slot since Gomer Pyle on CBS. And then something crapped out on Monday nights, their big night in April, late in the season. We got a chance to be there. And the head of CBS said, I'm giving you this shot. You're going to have 6 episodes there, but if you don't do well there, I mean, we like the show, but if it doesn't perform, you're done. And we did very well the first showing there. And of course, Ray and I, this is what we have in common. We both thought we're going to go down next week. You can only go down from here. And we went up. And that is when we knew we might have something.
You guys were both late 30s at this point?
I was mid-30s, yes.
So it's handleable.
The hours, yes.
The hours, yes, but the excitement of success.
Yeah, we'd been on a slow boil. That's right. Plus, our whole careers and lives up till then. So it wasn't like we're teen sensations.
Yeah. So nobody freaked out.
Here's something interesting. You ever hear this? You are, I believe, emotionally arrested at the age at which you become successful.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because that's the moment people stop saying no to you, so you have no reason to grow as a human being anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's true. I think it's maybe different for writers. Because no one's saying no.
Because we'll always be insecure.
Yeah,
no matter what.
It's a Colin Quinn joke of a lot of people enter. Some people enter the room and people are like yes, and other people enter the room and people are like what, like that. And we're more in the what category.
Yes, because writers are
because we have bad posture preternaturally, even if we have good posture. How did you find the hours? You guys had reasonable hours, right?
Because I'd worked 5 years in the business before that and thought, this staying up till 3 a.m. is bullshit. This is horrible. Nothing, by the way, ever got funny at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You just thought it did because you're hopped up on candy. And you can't live that way. And now we're starting to have kids, right?
Yeah.
And we also knew this show is the perfect vehicle for stuff from home.
Right.
Carl Reiner ran Dick Van Dyke. What happened at your house this week? I thought stealing that. That's exactly how I should run this show. So if you work for me, your job was to go home, get in a fight with your wife, and come back in and tell me about it.
Great.
That was the show. So that was very important. So I engineered a schedule. The first year, very hard on any show because you're trying to find what works.
Mm-hmm.
So you are staying a little later than usual. But I'd say we had maybe dinner at the office 3 times in that first year. And then I did something that wasn't popular, but I knew would help us. So, meaning you've reached the end, you did 22 episodes that first season, and now, thank God, we get a vacation. We're lucky enough to be picked up for season 2. We're going to now have, I think it's 3 months before pre-production, where we come in and start writing scripts. I say, nobody's going anywhere to the writers. We're going to stay for 2 weeks, and we're going to break stories, and each writer is going to have a story to write on their vacation. And everybody's like, even I don't want to do it.
Well, they would get some sort of payment though, right?
Oh, of course. You get paid.
Yeah.
But this is my vacation. You know, we're kids. Yeah. We want to go have a play in the beach.
Yeah.
So we all stay. It's not fun, but we don't leave until we each have an approved by the room story, which is
how many people?
The hardest part. There's 8 of us.
Yeah.
10 of us maybe, including Ray. And we all go off. Now, pre-production starts. I have 10 first drafts. And we spend pre-production polishing those drafts in the room and even developing the next stories. So day 1 of production, I have 10 finished scripts plus 10 more
10
that are on the way. That's the season practically. So now we have banker's hours, 10 to 5. Unbelievable how great it was, because I don't have to tell you, production is this giant boulder coming down on your head.
And if you get behind, you just have to go to the boulder.
Yes.
And put your hand on it at the beginning. And then you lead the boulder instead of
try not
it
to get
chasing
crushed.
you. Yeah,
yes.
It's hard. You need to have strong arms, but like go put your hand on the boulder and then you can have a little bit of say over it.
So this became the way. And because of that one sacrifice that summer, And it's not hard. By the way, once you have the story outline, you should, if you're a writer, be able to crank that out in 5 days.
Yeah.
This 40-page script.
Yeah. Fuck around 5 days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it made life so much easier. So during pre-production, we actually had free time. Hey, you want to go to Vegas? We all go to Vegas. Great bonding thing.
Yeah.
The whole writing staff and crew. Come on. Fun was important. It's always important.
Yeah.
The writer's room
never happened.
Is anything more fun than being in a fun writer's room?
Yeah, if it's you're absolutely right. It's like not work.
You're getting paid to laugh.
Yeah. And did you do that every season after that?
Mm-hmm. Because now we had that jump, right? So now we could actually, because we were ahead, we didn't need to take the extra 2 weeks at the end. We could take it towards the end of the season. We're breaking stories for next season.
Great. And no one else has really done that? Have people done it since? I guess sitcoms are
If anyone's listening who's done that, I actually put it in the book. I wrote a book about how to do one of these shows. It's called You're Lucky or Funny, How Life Becomes a Sitcom. And it's about how to take what you think is your boring, terrible life and turn it into something good, like a sitcom.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So then you finish and you've got, small GDP amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a small country's GDP.
Very nice.
And how many kids?
2.
And how do you feel at the end?
I feel like
it's 2010, right?
2005.
Oh,
is
wow.
when it ended.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right?
Sorry.
Went
my
from
mistake.
96 to 2009 years.
My mistake. Yeah.
Something happened. When I was a kid, I never traveled at all. And then when I was 23, I got a courier flight to Europe, and it blew my mind. It changed my life. Travel is the most mind-expanding thing we can do in life.
Yep.
I became like, oh, this is what your extra money's for. Yes, I have to pay rent and eat, but every penny is not going to be spent on clothes, certainly, or stupid material things I'm going to save up to so I can travel.
Yep.
Because this is great. Okay. In between season 1 and 2, I say to Ray, where are you going on your hiatus? He says he goes to the Jersey Shore. I say, that's great. Have you ever been to Europe? He says, no. I say, why not? He says, I'm not really interested in different. And right
Say
there.
this for Ray, knows who he is. Or thinks he knows who he is.
He's the greatest.
Yeah.
Right there, I get an idea. We're doing that episode. You're going to go to Italy as you, and you're going to come back as me. Someone excited about travel and Italy especially.
Yeah.
And it's where your family's from, Ray. Okay.
Yeah.
Took me 3 years to convince him. He's afraid to fly.
Yeah.
I get him. Turned out.
For that 6 hours, he can't really gamble. On the flight, it's hard to gamble. Okay.
Turns out to be a very nice episode. But the best part was the change that I wrote in the character arc I saw happen to Ray.
It actually happened.
Phil, have you tried gelato?
I know. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, when that happens to somebody. It happened to my brother Joe. He never did it, and then he was like, have you guys been, New York's great. We're like, yeah, we all have lived here for 20 years. The theater, no, yeah, we know what's great about it.
I think this is one of my favorite things about Ray, and it's probably true of all comedians. They say the thing as if it's never happened to anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the gift and the curse, yes.
I
think young people have that as well. Like, young people think, like, have you ever... I one time said, everyone, when you're young, you think every day is your birthday.
Oh. Well, it kind of is.
It kind of is, yeah. Okay,
if you're doing it right.
So you're...
So I... Right there, when I saw him get it in real life, I was like, wow, that's fun. I'm guessing you do what you do because you like turning people on to stuff you like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing.
Yeah.
Seeing your friend light up because you gave him a cookie.
Yeah.
So I thought right then and there, this season, 4 or 5, what if I could do this for other people? This travel, give them the travel bug, right?
Got it.
Okay, but Raymond runs 9 years, and you put that dream in the back of your head. And when Raymond's over, I naturally think my purpose on the earth is to write more sitcoms. Everybody's telling me to.
Yeah.
So I write a sitcom. Nobody wants it.
Did you Did that literally happen?
Yes.
You wrote a sitcom.
I even I had the spinoff ready for Robert.
And people were like, no thanks.
Too old.
Yeah.
They tell me the business changed in these 9 years. Now we just want hip and edgy.
Yeah, I mean,
we want young and pretty, hip and edgy. None of those things.
By the way, CBS stayed on the middle-age track for another 20 years and still is on it.
Not for lack of trying.
They tried to be cool and they couldn't.
Rejected the spinoff because everyone in that cast would have been over 40.
Mm-hmm.
And they greenlit something while everyone was in their 20s.
By over 40, you mean over $40 million a year. They rejected it, and what did they do? They did a cool young person show that never happened, and then they ended up going back.
Everyone did the Friends imitation.
Yeah.
There was one Friends.
Yeah.
God doesn't often give with both hands.
There was one Friends, and it was Seinfeld. I'm kidding. Yeah.
So now I knocked my head against the wall. I wrote pilot after pilot. I wrote with younger people.
That's funny because from the outside in, I would always wonder I wonder, Phil Rosenthal, it seemed like you should just be like a Chuck Lorre, like just do it and do it and do it and do it, do it.
I'm not him.
Right. And so I didn't realize it was because they didn't want them. I thought it was because you just stopped. I thought you were like, I'm good.
No, I would have been perfectly happy to have another sitcom right away. Okay, so after a few years of that, I go, if I'm going to strike out, well, I think I'm going to pursue this dream thing. And my agents looked at me like I was out of my mind.
And did you ever get the sense within yourself that you were like a frustrated performer?
No, I was thrilled running Raymond.
Yeah.
I was thrilled. I mean, I thought, acting was my immature self, and now I'm a grown-up.
Right.
That's really how I felt.
Yeah, which is a fair way to think.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was like, it's not like hitting the jackpot. It's like hitting it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Spectacular. I'm not even talking about the money at all.
Yeah, you're talking about like
the feeling and the acceptance.
Having an idea and then it crushing.
It was
5 days later.
And the friends I made.
Yeah.
People ask, do you miss that show? No. The show, we did 210. You don't miss the show.
Right.
You miss your friends.
Yeah.
I miss sitting in that room with Mike Royce and Ray and Steve and Lou and all those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all comedians.
Yeah.
I laughed my head off every day. 9 years is like going to high school and some of college with people.
Yeah.
They become, your war buddies.
Yeah.
So we still have that. We'll always have that. Do you have that in your life?
Yeah, of
these
course.
Great friends.
Yeah.
So what beats that? So that I thought, I want to live in that world forever. And then I was being rejected again, as if I never did anything. And I thought, what about this? So people think because I did Raymond, they handed me this whatever I want to do show. From the time Raymond was over to when the show got on PBS, and we had tried every network and cable
PBS,
station.
You're talking about the food show?
Exactly.
Okay.
It was called I'll Have What Phil's Having.
Yeah.
Between Raymond and I'll Have What Phil's Having, which is a very similar show to what I'm doing now, was 10 years. Now, I did write a book. I did do a documentary about the Russians calling me.
I saw that. Yeah.
Exporting Raymond.
Yeah.
So that was my first time naturally in front of the camera. I only agreed to go to Russia if I could make a documentary about the process. I wasn't planning on being a movie star, but naturally, if it is about the process, I'm the guy helping the Russians.
Right.
So, and it's naturally going to be about our contrasting sensibilities.
Right.
Okay. But stuff came from that. Oh, I Skyped with my parents accidentally in that show. Just came up in the moment to Skype them because this Russian family, the grandparents knew how the computer worked. And I said, this I have to see because my parents are completely, they can't, I said, you know how Skype works? Because I had tried to Skype with my parents. I could barely get them to, they go, yeah, we know. I said, call my parents. That right there, as we're filming, my parents just happened to be up. They're the hit of the movie. They're the funniest thing in the movie. And then when I got the Food and Travel show. I'm going to Skype with them. Why? Because they're funny and you like recurring characters coming from the world of sitcoms. And there's a natural reason for it. The Skype call, the Zoom call, is the modern postcard.
What is HelloFresh? Daddy, what is HelloFresh? Siri, what is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Ditch the meal planning woes and dive into HelloFresh's biggest menu yet with over 50 recipes and even more market items to choose from every single week. Make delicious food a priority this summer with quick, convenient recipes delivered right to your door. Just choose your meals and select a delivery date. HelloFresh handles all the meal planning, shopping, and most of the prep. All you have to do is open your box and get to cooking. Wake up your taste buds and get summer ready with balanced, fit, and wholesome recipes, chock full of fresh produce, and under 650 calories per serving. I engaged with the HelloFresh lifestyle. It's great. You know me. I'm a vegan vegetarian. They had tofu stuff. And they had chickpea stuff. They had curry stuff. They had jackfruit stuff. Then they also have like blocks. They sent me some meat before they realized I was vegetarian. It's all really good. It's all really high quality. It's cute. Me and my lady, you know, I got a lady. Me and my lady cooked together for her kid. Yeah, I'm kind of half a dad. And it was cute. It's a fun thing to do. And it's legitimately very, very good food. Go to HelloFresh.com/NealApps for free appetizers for life. One appetizer item per box while subscription is active. That's free appetizers for life at HelloFresh.com/NealApps. NealApps. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Hey, get ready to be the most stylish of your crew this summer with Cuts. Most guys would wear a t-shirt every day of their lives if they could. The problem is that most t-shirts are not acceptable to wear at work or out on a hot date night. Today's sponsor, Cuts, has finally changed that. Cuts t-shirts are such high-quality, wrinkle-free, and so buttery soft that you can look like you're dressing up even when you're dressing down. Yeah, you heard that. Wrinkle-free. You never have to substitute comfort for fashion ever again. Dive into summer with Cuts. I wore my Cuts yesterday. Here's Cut to Cuts. That's me in a Cuts, you dirty motherfucker. That's how's it look. Yeah, stronger than you thought, aren't I? Wore it yesterday. Look at me wearing it. It was very soft. It was wrinkle-free. I had it folded up for the day before. And it's wrinkle-free, soft as butter. I don't know if it's moisture wicking, but it's like in that fabric family. It's like breathable. Embrace the summer state of mind with Cuts. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use code NEAL at checkout. That's 20% off your order at cutsclothing.com with promo code NEAL. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the perfect blend of style and comfort with Cuts Clothing. Okay, so the impetus for the travel food show,
yes,
is to show people the world.
I think the world would be better if we all could experience a little bit of other people's experiences. So it's not just a guy eating. If it was a guy eating, it would be really boring. And
Right.
I'm the guy eating.
Yeah.
It can't just be about that. I'm using food and my stupid sense of humor to sneak in the real message.
And what do you think makes, because when you started, Bourdain's on the show, or he's got TV, and there's a few shows like this.
You know how
right?
I sold the show?
How?
I sold one line. I said, I'm exactly like Anthony Bourdain if he was afraid of everything.
Great. What makes one of those shows good? Because I don't know. As an outsider, I don't know what differentiates one from another. As someone who's just like casually a viewer of these shows.
There's one element that makes every show good, and that is interesting. Kubrick said to Jack Nicholson when they were filming The Shining and doing 70 takes, Nicholson said, I don't know how to do it any different. Am I not doing it right? Are you looking for something? He goes, I'm not. He goes, then how will you know when it's right? And he goes, when it's interesting.
Right.
That always stayed with me.
Yeah.
one of the things that, of course, we think keeps something interesting is it funny? The only thing I have to offer in that genre is maybe I can make you laugh a little. Maybe. And if I'm not making you laugh, it better be goddamn gorgeous, have food that looks like you want to eat, or some interesting fact about the place. Because the real point is to bring us together. It's inclusivity, not exclusivity. If you talk about philosophy, that's my philosophy of comedy. A lot of comedy is exclusive. Hey, look at that guy. He's fat. Right? Inclusive is when you make fun of yourself.
Right.
And when you bring the world in a little bit to you, and they can come to you.
Great. Because I watched the Thailand, I watched Portugal, and I watched one of the Spain.
Madrid? Or Barcelona? So. Yeah, Barcelona was in the PBS. We only did 6 for that.
Whichever one's on Netflix.
That's it, Madrid.
I refuse to watch PBS.
Do you make it?
I'm kidding.
Not an easy place to work.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, you know what I wonder about watching those? Do you ever want to say something negative about the place?
Of course.
Do you?
Never. Not
You don't
once.
think it would be worth it? You don't think it would be like, this is great, but watching the Bangkok one, I'm like, the thing about you sort of graze at the beginning, like Bangkok's, the heat can be over, and it's like Bangkok is severe.
You went.
Yeah, I've been there. It's like, it's full on. Like, wow, this is a lot. This is like three times the power of a city.
Yeah.
In one city.
There's traffic. It's hot.
Yeah. It's gross.
Phone wires, like you can't
believe. You can't, like a 19-year-old's apartment.
Yeah. And then you eat.
Yeah.
And holy moly, that food, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Look how beautiful that is. Look at that. And then the people.
Yeah.
And then these pockets of gorgeous, right, where you're just blown away.
Yeah.
It is worth it. Why dwell on the negative? There's enough negative.
No. Well, I'm just wondering.
And also, no, I mean it. People say it looks like you like everything. I like everything I put in the show. I have less than an hour to get you the message that you should come here. So it's also philosophy of life for me now. I don't have time for the negative.
Do you think most places are worth going to?
I do. First of all, I think you can get a great meal anywhere now.
I totally agree.
Because the world is flat because of the internet.
Yeah.
A kid in Peoria can see what a chef in Paris is doing, emulate it, use local ingredients, invent something great and new. And everywhere I go, I eat very well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a high end. In fact, I prefer it's not.
Yeah, I'm with you. You just said something that I think we'll use it to get into the point of the show, which is you don't have time for
negative.
Did you in your life? Were you overwhelmed with it? And what was your, let's say, negativity? Let's call that a block. Tell me about your relationship with negativity.
Well, first of all, when I was 5 years old, I was the star of the apartment. And then my parents brought home a replacement.
Great. Oh, I watched the one with your parents too. So your brother.
Yeah.
Your brother doesn't look like he would be your brother. He looks like he's from a surfing sitcom. He looks like from a sitcom about California.
So imagine looking like this, and then they bring home, I always say, it's like we were the Beatles, he was Paul, and I was Stanley Myron Handelman.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yes.
The cuter, sweeter.
Yeah.
And I became jealous, angry. I was a short, little, skinny nothing that was picked on in school. And I would come home and I would take it out on him. And I was not nice.
Consciously, kind of? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, what happened.
That's
right.
You
remember.
You remember. You showed up.
Yeah.
That was his original sin. I will exact my revenge.
Yeah.
And it wasn't always like that. And we have home movies proving that we loved each other.
Uh-huh.
But if I had a bad day, I was that guy who came home and kicked the dog. And in this case, the dog was Richard.
When did you realize that was a bad idea?
The moment I left home. And it wasn't all through high school. You grow up.
Right. And you were like, did you apologize quickly?
I don't think in so many words, but all my actions, he's my best friend.
Oh, great.
He's my absolute best. He is. I can't describe it any other way. We're best mans at each other's wedding, and now I get to travel the world and make a show with my best friend.
Is he he's the main?
He's the producer.
Oh, great. Okay.
The reason the show's any good at all is because of him.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
He's just great at what he does. Really smart. I think we have the brothers connection in sensibility and the shorthand that you would have with your brother or someone you know for your whole life.
Did you? Okay. So you left the house. Negativity can be good for comedy.
Absolutely.
It can be good for conversation, honestly.
Plus you move
in New York.
You move into New York.
Yeah.
New York in the 80s was dirty, smelly, horrible.
Yeah.
In many ways, the subway, unsafe, disasters, hot in the summer, torture, hell. That grinds you, and you can't help but be cynical and angry. And then there were so many times when I felt just awful about myself. And if you feel awful about yourself because you're not making it, you're not doing what you'd like to do, you're doing a terrible job to pay the rent, and you're not happy. So that is reflected out. But the moment you get what you want, shouldn't that make you nicer?
Yeah, but I think the grooves are used to doing what they do. You have the negative grooves.
I do.
So,
but they went away in large part
from success,
from happiness.
And how did you get happiness?
Found a nice girl. Married her. Had kids. I like them.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
29 and 26. In fact, my boy Ben, who's 29, is getting married Sunday.
Oh, that's fucking
so
fantastic.
I'm just like, I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
And I get to look what I get to do.
Yeah. Podcasts.
I do that too.
Yeah, but
why? Because I like talking to people. It's fun.
And so a lot of your negativity was just from frustration and from
because I was having a bad time.
Yeah.
You and I could make fun of a lot of stuff. I will not do it in public because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to ruin anybody's career. If I take a bite of something in the show and it's not fantastic or at least good, I'm always going to be polite.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to spit it out and go, "You're an idiot. Who made this?"
Yeah.
Which I've heard some people do.
Yeah.
I don't like that. There's no reason for that. Why hurt someone's business?
Yeah, just cut it out.
Just take it out.
Yeah.
I have had negative reactions on the show to an ingredient.
Okay.
Or if I went to the pizza place in Buenos Aires that has incredible pizza, but when you pick up this slice of pizza, rivers of cheese are pouring off it as you pick it up. It's like waterfalls of cheese coming off this pizza. And there's so much cheese on it that there's still plenty of layers of cheese left on that slice. And you eat it and it's an oily mess. It's delicious, but now you need a napkin. And the napkins in this place are like the napkins in, remember the black and white notebooks? As if you tore out a tiny corner of a page of that. Here's your napkin. You're like, this is completely unsuitable for the job at hand.
Ridiculous.
First of all, I'm an American. I need super absorbency.
Please. It's what we're known for. Yeah.
That's all we have. and this is inadequate. So I made fun of the napkins.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt anybody.
Yeah, great. When you were negative, did you think it was cool or a badge of honor? Or were you like, I can't wait for this to be over?
A way to get a laugh maybe and bond with someone else? Because it is the quickest route to connecting sometimes is, how about that thing that stinks?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And did you kind of take that out of your repertoire, or you are just more aware of what it was doing to you?
It still can be there in private. God knows there's enough on the news that we can talk about that all day.
Right.
I'm still a person. I'm not like Pollyanna about the world. I still get upset, angry, worried, depressed even about the state of things. I can't believe some of this stuff. I don't know if we're going to survive. I mean, it's very easy for me to go down that route.
Yeah.
But I choose to, and I don't want to get,
No, I'm interested in it because I'm having my own experience with the choice.
Okay, so here's what helped me.
And not about the news, but just about
Everything
as
else.
a selection, as a way to be.
I happen to know that depression, it can be chemical and not just an outlook. But here's what helps me, and I've had therapy too, because the business drove it to me. Even in the middle of success, I had a couple of experiences where I thought I was going to work with a friend, and it just turned into a nightmare. Like I couldn't believe it, and that made me depressed and sent me into therapy, and that helped. But I don't know. Do you go to therapy all the time?
I'm not going now, but there are periods where I've gone a lot.
I don't understand going past when you need going.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I broke my arm, fix my arm.
Yeah.
I move on. I don't keep going to the doctor, look at my arm.
Yeah.
Gratitude is huge.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning. First of all, I'm happy I woke up at this age.
Yeah.
Second, wife of 34 years next to me. Next, my favorite dog I've ever had is at the foot of my bed. Kids doing well. House, pillow, bed, nice, TV, big.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah.
Food.
Yep.
Happy. Everything else is gravy.
Did you grow into that?
Yeah.
What, and it wasn't something you worked at? Because I think when the things you've said, the thoughts that came up were, I think a lot of people people stay in therapy because they get stuck in the monologue they're telling themselves.
That's exactly right. And that becomes your friggin' life.
It becomes your personality, and it becomes your life, and it becomes like it is your hobby.
And you know who wants you to stay there?
The person in the hobby with your therapist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about, the surgeon recommends surgery.
Yeah. I think that they want, I agree that they want you to stay. It's like, well, that's all they care about also. So they want you. And I think now, especially, there's a premium put on victimization and aggrievement. So people like staying in it because it gives them points culturally. There's a thing.
Culturally?
Yeah. You're better off being a victim than you are being anything else.
That's a terrible way to think.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
But I think that's the way a lot of people think. And I brought it up on here before. There's a thing called post-traumatic stress disorder, which is famous. The thing that's not famous is a post-traumatic growth. There's a thing called post-traumatic growth that no one seems to talk about.
That's beautiful.
Where you can, again, not better off for the hardship, but like you can get over shit, and you're not a sellout. You're not a bitch for getting over for not being aggrieved anymore.
Right. Here's one of the best things I heard about thinking. We worry about stuff. Oh my God, I have this thing coming up. I'm so worried it's going to go bad. Okay. You owe it to yourself to think about it turning out great.
Yeah.
Because there's an equal chance. So why not?
Right. Because I think we're evolved to look for threats.
I
always said most of the sort of all the woke settlers died of arrow wounds. You know what I mean? All of like, look on the.
I'll be your friend.
Yeah, let's look on the bright side. It didn't really work for most of human history.
Remember Independence Day?
Mm-hmm.
The best moment in that movie is when they're trying to understand the alien, and they say, "What do you want?" And the alien says, "We want you to die."
What is it you want us to do?
Die.
How do you reason with that? Hitchcock knew this. Hitchcock knew that the scariest thing was the guy. You do everything the guy tells you to do, he's going to kill you anyway.
Yeah. Yes.
For fun. Or because he has to.
Yeah. Yes. So obviously it seems like you're doing due diligence by being negative.
Wow. I never thought of that.
I hadn't either, but I think it really does. I think it's like you're going through your sort of.
By the way, that is the definition of due diligence. You have to think of everything that could go wrong.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yes.
But that doesn't have to affect you emotionally. You can look at it as a business plan in front of you.
Yeah, but I think that's easier said than done.
Of course. And when I write anything, I wish that worry was not part of the writing process, but for me it is.
What do you mean?
Worry about
Explain that.
I worry this will be bad. I worry that this will I won't be able to write anything.
But
every single time.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the job.
But couldn't worry not be part of it? Couldn't it just be thinking without worrying?
In other words, I don't know anyone that does it that way.
I'm trying to take the emotion out of it. Worry indicates emotion.
Right.
Negative emotion. I feel bad.
Right.
Worrying.
Yes.
Worry makes you feel bad.
Yes.
Keeps you up at night.
Yes.
I don't want that.
Yes.
I wish I could just be clinical about it. Here's the task. I got this to do. Jerry Seinfeld seems like, and you know him better than me, but he seems like, first of all, the most confident person in the world.
Right.
Second, I think he writes every day and he loves it. Maybe he's so in love with everything he puts down on paper that it's only a good time for him.
I think, he came on and I didn't hit him with this, but I think he's got more. I did say he's more negative than he seems and Larry's more positive than he seems, and he agreed. So I think what you're asking for may not be human, in that the thing that makes you have an idea.
Yeah.
Because you're not satisfied with the existing idea. Do you know what I mean? You're
Yes.
worried that you're going to be vulnerable. Whether it's this plot isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And if you play that sequence out, it's this plot isn't good enough, and we're going to be found out, and they're going to cancel.
Right.
Or this trip to Buenos Aires isn't interesting enough,
right,
and they're going to pull the plug.
And you'll be discovered as the fraud you are. That's the cliche.
Right. And I think that is like the cascade. That is the domino.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get to things are good now, but what if they were better? Yeah. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't think that's a legitimate human approach.
Here's how I justify it to myself. Well, maybe the quality of a lot of things would be better if people worried about them more.
Yeah. Well, I would argue that part of the reason that the things that you or I have done were good was because we didn't settle. We didn't go, that'll do, pig.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
We actually were obsessive, and it might have been dark.
And we hurt ourselves to give you this.
Kind of. I'm sure you have acid reflux in some form.
Yeah, I don't. My stomach's pretty good.
Oh, that's interesting.
I only got sick once in all my travels, and it was San Francisco. Of all the exotic places.
That tenderloin sidewalk.
I got a little untender. I got a little something.
So I would say that whatever negative, I think has its place. A bit of negativity. But the thing that I've been aware of recently that maybe you can relate to, which is in terms of trying to turn it off, is I'm a receptacle for this bad feeling.
Right.
And I don't want to be one of those charred chalices that they put molten steel in that just is black and tar and
burned out.
Yeah, and burnt because of all of the shit my brain is spilling into my body.
Yeah.
And I literally thought of it 10 times yesterday. I'm like, stop it. Stop doing this. This is not good for you. And I wouldn't even, it was just passive worry. I have nothing to worry about. I mean, that's literally, I've written in my gratitude checklist book, which I have, and I do 3 or 4 a day.
You do?
Checklist. Yes. Gratitude checklist.
That's great. Does it help you?
It helps me immeasurably.
So then you know the secret.
Yes. Yes. But it's so Oprah-fied that it's
why,
embarrassing.
Was that her secret? I never read
She was the
secret.
first person I know who, publicly, who talked a lot about gratitude and gratitude journals and shit.
Really?
That I could be wrong.
So that's great
for
people.
Yes, but I think most people don't. When someone goes, I don't have time, I'm like,
you don't have time,
to
understand that you are so lucky compared to 99% of the world.
I don't have time. I simply don't have time. I have to listen to podcasts. Okay, so that negativity you seem to have gotten some kind of handle on.
I think so.
Yeah.
But because look what happened to me.
Yeah.
People say, was it worth 10 years for the, yeah, of course. Of course it was.
Was what worth 10 years?
This unbelievable thing you get to do as your life?
Oh, the 10 years between the sitcom and the...
Or the 10 years leading up to the sitcom. Was it worth it? Of course it was. Look at every single movie that wins Best Picture. They hold up that award and they go, it took 10 years to sell this.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
That's
I would
how
say
I
if you
feel.
want to get good at something, go be a loser for 10 years.
It's the Malcolm Gladwell thing too.
Yeah.
Right? The 10,000 hours of... Yeah. I used to watch TV. Were you like me, watch TV instead of going out and living at all? I guess kids do it now with the phone, but I was a student of TV without knowing.
Jerry Seinfeld said he hugged the TV when they got a TV. He hugged it.
My parents would say to me, go outside. What are you going to do? Get a job watching television? And the moment I started working in television, I sent them a television, the biggest one they made at the time, with a note on it that said, haha.
Great. Okay, so you got that. You got the negativity. What, you also sent OCD, light OCD.
A little bit, yes.
Tell us about that.
I think I'm a creature of habit. I think a lot of people are. The trick is to turn your bad habits into good ones. So if there's a thing you're going to do every day, sit on the couch and watch TV and eat potato chips, replace some of that with working out every day. So now I've reached the point where I never exercised until I was 40. And now if I don't work out or do something at least every single day, I feel weird that I didn't do that.
And is it physical or it's OCD? Meaning, is it your body feels different? Are you even aware of how you feel in your body?
It's OCD. I have to do it. It's compulsive. I must do it. Every trainer will tell you, what are you doing? You got to, the day of rest is actually essential to being healthy and creating muscle, even if that's what you're going for.
Right.
I don't think it's about that. I think I got to let's go. We got to do it. Got to go. I walked today before we started today at 11, but I already got up at 7:45 and walked 1.5 miles to my coffee shop, as I do every morning, because I'm obsessive about it. I also love the little congregation of people, neighbors, that I've accumulated over the years.
Yeah.
On Larchmont Boulevard, and I love seeing them. So whenever I'm home, I'm either walking the dog there or I'm going myself, but I am going. And then I come back, and if I didn't have this today, I would be working out in my little room where I have some weights and doing that, which I'll do as soon as we're done. I have to. I can't wait for this to be over.
It sounds like
no, I'm not.
But it's not that it. When I was thinking of OCD, I was in bed this morning and I was like, "What am I not?" And I hadn't journaled yet. So there's got to be a way to. It's like positive OCD.
Yes, because we're all gonna have something.
Yes.
We're all gonna have a habit. So the trick is make it a good one.
Yes.
Don't do one that hurts you. I'm sure I still have it. I still don't eat healthy every day. I could be healthier.
Sure, but you're not. You're slim.
I wish I had the writing OCD, where I was compelled to write every day. I wish I had that.
I know.
But you know what? It's a lot harder to write than it is to work out.
It's harder to write than do anything, I think of. I mean, I can't think. Coal mining. No, coal mining.
At least there's friends with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a chance at friends.
Yeah. And there's
writing is the loneliest thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the writer's room. It's not going to be good if you just gangbang the script altogether. Yeah. It's never as good as the single vision. It gets way better after everyone's pitching in.
But it's got to start with
you have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's nothing.
Yep. All right. OCD.
Yes.
We've got, what are your insecurities? You've got insecurity down here.
Whatever you can think of. Look at me. I mean,
all right, let me start guessing. I'm good. Yeah, like is just regular. They haven't improved. The same old.
Am I good enough in any way? Am I? Oh, I get validated. You get validated. You go on stage, people laugh and love you. I do a live show now.
Great.
I go around. We show a little highlight reel of the show that people seem to like. I'm playing theaters that are. I played the Chicago Theater a couple weeks ago. 3,200 people. I played the Beacon Theater. I have no business being in that theater. The Rolling Stones played there.
Great.
I go on with a moderator. I tell funny stories about my career, my life, and then Q&A for the second half of the show. I feel guilty that this is a show.
Yeah.
That people pay money to come and see.
Yeah. Did you do what you set out to do? Do you get the sense that you converted people to travel, or is it?
Yes, absolutely. 90% of the audience went somewhere because of the show.
Yeah.
Makes the world better a little.
Yeah.
I always say to the audience, you seem very nice. You're exactly the people who should be traveling because we should be exporting nice.
Do you ever think of nice as boring?
Yeah.
Of course. And then how do you talk yourself out of that?
Good. Nice equals good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little more boring than roasts.
No, exactly. Yeah, yes.
What if you could be both? What if you could be nice and
shit on people's jacket?
Well, not shit on people's jacket, but funny.
Yeah. I'm interested in how if you worry about being a beacon
of boring.
Well, not a beacon, but do you know what I mean? Like, if you're just kind, it's Mulaney and Kroll did a joke one time about Broadway, which they said it's something about it's with no tension or stakes.
Hysterical.
It's like, because it's like it's a Broadway play. It's a story with no tension or stakes. Great. So what I worry about trending more positively, I go, am I just gonna be like fucking Hallmarky and
yeah,
but probably not.
So I complain in the show. My brother makes me do things I don't want to do in the show.
Yeah.
So that is quote unquote a touch of negativity.
Okay.
I'm not happy now.
Right.
I'm gonna complain now.
Right.
I'm not. I'd rather be eating a nice hot dog right now than you throwing me in the coldest water in the earth.
Yeah.
Did an Iceland show. The water was 1 degree above not water. It was painful.
Yeah.
Lasted 10 minutes. Hilarious in the show to my brother.
Great. So, and isn't that all that matters?
Yes. So it's that if you're looking for a little sand in the oyster, that's So
that
we have that element. He made me go in a race car at 187 miles an hour. I thought I was going to. It was the worst thing that's ever happened.
Were you driving or you were a passenger?
I was a passenger, even worse.
Yes. So your insecurities haven't gotten. Age is pretty good for that. Aging,
right?
For insecurity, you just stop. You know what's a really underrated thing in human life? Forgetting.
It's true.
You forget times you were a total piece of shit.
We did this episode on Raymond. We call it Nature's Editing.
Outstanding. Yeah, like you just don't remember.
We will forget the shitty. Always, you don't have kids, right?
Mm-mm. I have I'm trending toward a relationship, but yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Video every second because the videos actually become your memories.
Interesting.
And you're only videoing the good stuff. When something shitty happens, you take it out. I don't need to keep that.
Yeah.
That's how your mind should work. That's how your mind does work.
Yes.
Don't hang on to the negative. It doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't help. Well, it's funny, but it's as somebody who likes justice.
Yes.
I'm sure you do as well. Why write comedy?
Of course.
It's kind of not just. It's just when I forget the awful things I've done.
Of course.
It's unjust when you forget. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, because I think about like, oh, well, I'll be assailing someone in my head and I'll be like, you did that. And I was like, oh, I just forgot. It's not part of the official records.
Or have you ever been surprised at how wrong you are in remembering something?
Yeah, absolutely.
That it didn't happen the way you thought it did,
Yep.
and you've been hanging on to this for
Yep.
friggin' years. We're
Yes.
idiots.
Yes, I know. And but it is, you hate to say Hitler forgot things.
Well, if
You know
anyone
what I
had
mean?
a right to forgive himself.
He had so much to forget. But I'm saying, like, there are, you want justice, and it's like, I don't know, Pol Pot probably wasn't hung up on, or maybe he remembered it and it was like, it was good. Or that was a heroic moment. All right. In closing, what would you like to impart to people? What's the lesson? What are you trying to tell? What's the point of view?
Great question. Two things. Best advice I ever got was from that crazy showrunner from Baby Talk,
Mm-hmm.
who did many other brilliant shows. I just happened to get to him when he was doing Baby Talk.
Got it.
I'm writing the pilot for Raymond. I said, "Yeah, any advice for me?" He goes, "Do the show you want to do, because in the end, they're going to cancel you anyway." Philosophy of life.
Letterman said the same thing to Seinfeld when he was writing the pilot for Seinfeld.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Philosophy of life. We all get canceled
It's funny.
one day.
He was the producer on your show. He didn't tell you that.
Never said anything. I had the weirdest interview of my life with David Letterman. Because after Ray and I seemed to get along, next step was you're going to meet Dave, because he's a producer on the show. It's his production company in conjunction with HBO for CBS.
Mm-hmm.
I go to New York. Late Night with David Letterman is still on. Big deal.
Yep.
I never missed a single episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm meeting God.
Mm-hmm.
You ever go in his office?
That one, no.
You go in his office on the 6th floor at the Ed Sullivan building.
Mm-hmm.
The desk is facing the wrong way when you go in his office. So in other words, you come in and you're behind the desk.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his two producers, they tell me to have a seat. And Letterman gestures to the seat, his seat, at the desk. I say, not behind the desk. He says, absolutely behind the desk. So I sit like it's my office, my meeting, and he and his buddies sit on the other side. I said, the first thing I'd like to do is throw you all the hell out of my office. He has the music, heavy metal music, playing at a deafening volume and does not lower it during our first meeting. I don't understand it. Was it to see if I could put up with stuff, or are they just pranking anyone who comes? I didn't understand it. He said to me, so tell us what you think of the show. What's going to be? I said, well, I like Ray's personality. I think I'm starting with his family, but it's pretty much going to be, his character and these characters. And they just kind of nodded as if they'd never been in this business before, which I think they dabbled in a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Here was Letterman's advice. You ready? Okay. Just don't embarrass us.
Yeah.
I said, that's what I say to my kids when I drop them off at school every day.
Yeah. That's kind of all you can. If you're not in charge of something, don't embarrass me.
And then I heard from him. He was an executive producer on Everybody Loves Raymond, David Letterman.
Mm-hmm.
In 9 years, a grand total of 5 minutes. Hey, I heard you're picked up. How many did they pick up? How many seasons do they pick up now? Like 5? I said, just one, Dave, one at a time.
Yep.
Not like you.
Yeah. He's a quirky gentleman.
He got sweeter.
Yeah.
After he had his boy.
Yeah.
He became, and I called him to thank him when we were done. And he was in the middle of his last week of shows.
Mm.
And he called me right back 2 days before he was done. And I talked to him for half an hour. Couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah, he
And
did.
what-
He was the first guest on here. It was great.
I listened to that.
Yeah.
I was in awe. I think he's wonderful.
Yeah, he's outstanding. All right, so that was the first point, was you're going to get canceled anyway.
Yes. And second, be nice and travel. It's the most mind-expanding thing we can do in life. If somebody gave you a house as a gift, here's a house, big house, would you stay in one room of the house?
If it had a TV.
We have this gift, right?
Yeah.
Keep it nice, number one, and go see it. It's a one-way street. You know, this is it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, it was great talking to you, man.
I love talking to you.
Yeah, all right, great.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. See you. Shake. Shake on
Oh,
it.
because
That's
we're
the
on
end.
TV.
Yes, we're on YouTube. Even better. Thank you.